Hello, everybody, and welcome to this edition of AACRAO's Credential Chats. And we have a special one for you today, joined by Sarah Esler. She is at Michigan State University, where she is the director of the Spartan Experience Record. And really excited to unpack this with you, Sarah. Welcome to Credential Chats.
Thank you so much, Noah. I'm thrilled to be joining you both today.
Absolutely. And, I know that you and Michigan State are a part of the LER Accelerator Initiative, which is we've featured and really just amplified the work of a lot of institutions who are part of that. But I think that you at Michigan State are in a different place than almost everybody else in that what you're doing as a part of your planning grant is not doing something new, and it's not even kind of scaling up something that just started. You all are years and years deep into something that you're now kind of just adding incredible juice to. And so maybe just as way of kicking us off, you can tell us about, what you're doing, what came before the LER and the Spartan Experience record.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, thanks, Noah. Well, the Spartan Experience record started at our institution in fall 2020. As I like to joke, 10 out of 10, excellent time to launch anything new in higher education. But jokes aside, we got to have a lot of rich foundational time throughout the COVID years to build relationships, educate students, and really build a foundation to have an integral Spartan Experience record or furthermore, a co-curricular record at Michigan State. Within that time, we have grown presently to over 19,000 students who have one or more opportunities on their record. Yeah, which is huge. And we have over 1,200 plus experiences. And in total with undergraduate research annually added as well, we're over 2,000 then on average. So we've really gotten to grow and make a strong impact of really starting with our foundations always of wanted to advance what it means to be an engaged Spartan, but most importantly, what it means to learn and grow in rich skill development outside of the classroom. So that is where our record has always centered is how are students engaging, but most importantly, how are they learning and how can we help propel the future? So that really ties into where the LER grant came into be. We knew, and I'm sure as Credential Chats have brought up, and we've heard at AACRAO, and if you've been in other spaces, about the scrutiny higher education is under, and what is the value of a four-year degree? What is the value of spending a substantial time and resources in a degree granting space? Co-curricular records and comprehensive learner records and all the fun acronyms we use really have a lot of impact and value to really forward that direct question and have a strong answer to further show and demonstrate how students are making the most of their experiences throughout their educational experience. So for us, going back to the LER grant, we've started with our record, as I mentioned, a co-curricular record. So we only bring in opportunities outside the formal classroom presently. And through our work, we've had plenty of students who, for example, maybe they've both been a part of an undergraduate research lab. If one did it for independent study, presently it couldn't go on the record because they're getting it for credit. And if they are as well doing it outside for not for credit for a volunteer or a paid opportunity, that could go on the SCR. So we've had some inequities that we've indirectly created with having our current parameters. We also know we're missing opportunities that students are incredibly benefiting from that are high impact and important to have on a comprehensive learner record. And that's the work we're doing with the grant. We have formed a committee to really help us come together to research and add in out of our, to complement the out of class experiences with credit-based experiential learning opportunities. So we have a really dynamic team of folks from Study Abroad, Center for Community Engaged Learning, and a ton more. And I'm getting really excited now, as you can tell. So
I can relate.
I'll
I
see if
can
you got
relate.
additions there. I hope that helped kick us off good.
Well, absolutely. And one thing I want to do before we talk about the admin side is, and when you talk about 19,000 students,
Yeah,
like I believe it's Mike Simmons from AACRAO who says, what is the sound of recognition happening if nobody's around to hear it? That
yeah,
we build things for students all the time in higher ed. and they might not ever know it exists or actually use it. And if 19,000 Spartans are taking advantage of this at least once, to me, it speaks to them realizing that I need something to tell my story in addition to my transcript. That the transcript's great for what it is, but I actually need this. That you have literally tens of thousands of students who are bought into this. And so I'm just wondering, like, was there any secret sauce to that? How did you get that kind of scale?
Oh gosh, secret sauce. I think we have most importantly a lot of lessons learned in the secret sauce. For us, it has always been about the relational side of things. So I bring that up first and foremost as I'm an office of only two full-time staff, which in and of itself I know is very rare across higher ed for full-time staff dedication to any sort of co-curricular record. But beyond that, we really look to faculty staff first and foremost to help educate those students who they are supporting, adding opportunities to the record. That is a key way we do that. But we try to ensure we connect to from marketing and education throughout the entire undergraduate experience, starting from orientation and of course all the way through graduation. My last note would always be to, it's always reaching out to students and making things fun. Students, of course, once you kind of showcase, hey, here's the value for you and here's what's in it for you. That is where we've gotten a lot of more traction to as we've marketed and been in conversations and had events for students, is really making sure they understand the direct benefits to them. And really the reflection point I will always mention is students love thinking about one, what they've done across their entire college experience of from their first on-campus volunteer opportunity to seeing all of their leadership experiences on one formal record. Students have shared the impact that has of one, the knowledge retention to think about what they learned 3 years from now, not realizing that first volunteer opportunity really helped them start thinking more about a social science-based undergraduate education experience and more. So all the more thinking of those are some of my key things. Working directly with students, working with your faculty, and relying on those partnerships for sure.
When you just touch on, Sarah, something that I think is really golden, and that's reflection.
Yes. Oh
That,
my
I
goodness.
mean,
Yeah.
we're talking about a formal learning record, which normally our interaction with a formal learning record is somebody's asking for it, and we pay somebody to get us an official copy of it and ship it to them. And what I'm hearing is that you're hearing from students that they themselves are looking at their learning record and
Right.
not just using it because somebody's asking for it, but and not just using it at the summative moments of learning, but even informative moments of learning.
Yeah.
That these learning records we're creating are things that they're actually meaningfully using in order
Right.
to reflect and hold up a mirror to themselves and better understand their own awesomeness.
Yes, yeah, 110%. And that's a key space where we always wanted to centrally root the Spartan Experience record is in that student learning piece, having it be a tool to really expand their understanding of their Spartan experience and the skills they've developed and how they've grown and how that has been a part of who they are today and who they want to become. And we're excited to really expand on that with the work we're doing now.
And that just also just lends what's really the real narrative too that you started with of the value of the degree is not about higher education, post-secondary institutions' self-preservation. It's
Yeah,
about our institutions providing this really valuable,
yes,
experience for learners to understand exactly what you said of where they are in order to get to where they're going. And
yes.
I think that is so special. I also want to catch up then to where you started about the LER Accelerator initiative that you're a part
You
of.
bet.
And I hear you saying that where you were was exclusively in the co-curricular or non-curricular space, and that part of what you're doing with this planning year grant is to really look at how do we now also include within the same learning record um, academic and curricular experiences. So maybe if you could kind of share about that transition with us and just what the sort of vision is for that at Michigan State.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, once we have had more experience, we've had some folks come to us to say, well, we'd love to have our education abroad opportunities in the record. And that we've always called it a line in the sand of saying, this of course is reflected on the academic transcript right now. And that is where our comfort was, that we wanted a more divided space of what lives on the transcript and what lives on the Spartan experience record. But what we've further talked about and how we want to, we have a lot of momentum with our new president, President Guskowitz on campus regarding career ready Spartans. So I bring that up as this was announced a bit after we received the grant, but really dovetails nicely of how are we preparing students to answer tomorrow's questions and problems and really help them become lifelong learners. And there's experiences that are critical to their learning and development that we know are likely to also more retain our students, and we're missing some of those opportunities. So as we expand, we get to most importantly 4 key goals for our students in their growth, 4 key campus initiatives, but really that bigger picture of what does it mean to be an engaged Spartan and how are you building incredible durable skills, as I know we've heard the reference instead of soft skills. Yeah, we love the applause. So as a note, Noah, we directly list our learning outcomes that students accomplish on their Spartan experience record. So every experience they have lists their learning directly. So that was one thing that was important to us for an education abroad experience, that we can have that and also showcase the direct learning that the student accomplished through that experience and have this more full picture of how we phrase it what does it mean to be an engaged Spartan? It means to be a global Spartan. It means to be a community engaged Spartan. It means to be a leader and a on-campus student, employee. So all sorts of things that we want to bring together in a more intentional way to best support our students.
I mean, I think that for anybody who caught that part about that you're actually, you're not transcribing these things, but you are in a official learning record naming those learning outcomes,
Yeah.
which, I think anybody who's paying attention on the policy, that that's everything that we're hearing at state level and federal level, that people are going to be
Yes.
looking at, for anybody institutions that applied for the FIPSI grants back in November, it talked about the transform, transcribe, and transact earned learning assertions to be able to be communicated in credentials with discrete competency statements, which
Yeah.
sounds super jargony and confusing. And I just heard you in really simple English say, this is how we're already ahead of the game at Michigan State and doing that,
Yeah.
not for our institution, but doing it for our learners, that they have something that, in addition to the transcript, in addition to saying what they were enrolled in and when, saying, and here's what was inside of that.
Yes, 100%. Yes, that was exactly a lot of what we wanted to do. My entire career my thread has always been co-curricular learning. And so much of the work we do, we really getting to flesh this out on a co-curricular record has so much value as you're getting at, for an institution as well as beyond our direct institutions as well. We have I bring that up as one thing I do is I create an annual report for each of our colleges and divisions annually. So I can showcase to them all their students who've been involved, who was engaged, the types of opportunities their college submitted to us. And I bring that up because I aggregate the learning outcomes. So where did your college really support what it means to be an engaged Spartan outside of the classroom? So we get to have data that we've never had truly in many respects because of our very large decentralized space. So having a centralized role like I have has a lot of excitement. I love the laughter there.
Well, I think that our audience
Excitement.
probably all just had a collective, like, well, yeah, we've seen that movie.
Yes, yes. So there's been a lot of excitement on my part, but for our institution where we can provide narrative and data that has a lot of impact for how we serve and how we support our students day to day. But we also have some of the data you're getting at that you were reading, Noah, that if we had, or for asked certain questions for our reaccreditation, we have a really strong data set to support that with. So that's something I always love to talk about when folks are starting a record, is thinking of the ways you can use this, kind of like the hub and spoke, like the records, the center, where are all these neat ways you could support your institution and goals and really have forwarding momentum for our respective institutions, but truly higher ed and our other broader ecosystems of employers and others for sure.
I love that, Sarah. And I think that that probably speaks to the heart of a lot of the folks, from an AACRAO audience who would be watching this of the record at the as the hub of the hub and spoke system, which
Yeah,
I think is a great just kind of closing question for you.
sure.
You are housed in undergraduate ed, but you're also somebody who has not only heard of AACRAO, you attend AACRAO.
Yeah.
And you're using the language of record keeping. Where does the Office of the Registrar fit into, the learning employment record and the Spartan experience record planning at Michigan State University?
Yeah, absolutely. The registrar's office at Michigan State University has been a integral and foundational partner to our initial days back in 2019 of shaping our record, doing through all the fancy tech things that I'm a little more knowledgeable about at this point in time, maybe dangerously knowledgeable, right? But have made the Sparring Experience record possible. So our database, we send our data to the registrar's office to curate and build the final record for students. So when they go to request their transcript, they also have a new selection to also include their Spartan experience record. So our goal is always to have students have a full picture of their in-class and out-of-class experiences, and having them able to do that in one key place has been a really incredible partnership. And one of the key ways I got connected to AACRAO, also with our growing credential community, there's been a lot of great ways for me to continue networking and building partnerships. But yes, the registrar's office has been an incredible partner and a key place, an important partner in all of our work.
Well, Sarah Esler, director of the Spartan Experience Record at Michigan State University. This is just a favorite episode here to record of AACRAO's Credential Chats. Thank you so much for joining us and just being a quote factory for us, giving people so many great ideas to take back to their institutions and emulate what the great work that y'all are leading.
My pleasure. Thanks so much, Noah, and thanks to Paige as well. Appreciate the opportunity to talk about the Spartan Experience record today. Look forward to connecting
Absolutely.
again with colleagues in the future.
Absolutely. And I love this shout there too for any of our viewers who do not know about Paige from AACRAO, who's behind the scenes making all the magic happen. And thank you all for joining us and sharing the currency of your time and engagement with AACRAO's Credential Chats. And until next time, have a badge worthy week, everybody. So long.